All right, thank you all for joining. Today is June 13th, and we are doing TAM Lab 120, upgrading a VCF instance from 5.1 to 5.1.1 with two workload domains. So that's the management domain and the VI domain. Let me get out of here and we'll start the video, which is right there. And let me actually share the video. So let me stop sharing for a second. Make this a little bit easier for all of us. There. Cool. See if I can make this full screen. That's as full screen as you're gonna get. All right, you guys still see the video, right? But not playing.
Correct.
Yep. All right, just want to make sure. All right, so in this case, at the very beginning here, I'm just kind of showing through the VCF instance that we did the PowerShell script 2 weeks ago through. In this case, you see I have the VCF-MO1, that's the management workload domain. The WLO1 is the VI workload domain. In this case, the management domain has 6 hosts. The workload domain has 4. And this is all after you log into the SCC manager. And next thing you do is you go into the lifecycle management. Now, this is all assuming that you've already set up the depot to download everything, or you uploaded the bundles. Maybe in another video we can actually talk about how you do that. If you are, let's say, a dark side or whatever, I can do a follow-up with that. But as you see here, everything currently, as you see, like the workload domains 2, it's for 5.1.0.0. And this is kind of like the release notes, right? So you can see what's new in 5.1. You see the bill of materials, the SD manager, ESXi, NSX, vCenter, vRealize Lifecycle Manager, and what build and versions that 5.1 includes. But as you can see on the left side, I got 5.1.1.0, and there's nothing in there, right? What's good about this, kind of like this release version lifecycle management inside of SCC Manager, is you can see all the versions and get the details of all of them, all the way down to like 5 dot something. But yeah, so there's the release notes. Now we're going to look at 5.1.1. Here's the release notes for that newer version, and it has what the bill of materials for each one of those versions. So in this case, I'm highlighting, you can upgrade from 4.4 and 4.5 and 5. Whatever to 5.1.1. So now we're going to look at just kind of showing you what's in each of those workload domains. Here you can see the updates is got that little bubble next to it. I believe it might be red. I'm colorblind. I apologize if it's green. But right now we're going to start doing like the pre-check. As you can see here, this is what it's saying. Hey, I haven't selected a version that I want to upgrade to. So it's this whole process kind of takes some time, especially my home lab, because of resource contention. I actually had to break the video up a couple times because I had to restart it. But in a production environment where resources are not as ate up or not available, you shouldn't have as many issues as I've had. So here I'm just saying, okay, I want to upgrade to 5.1.1, and then I'm going again showing you the source build and the everything, the target build, and confirming that I do want to plan this upgrade from those 2 versions. In the pre-check, we're going to select the version. And then there is all the components inside of my STC manager. And we're running through a pre-check currently here. This is one of those, like I ran it and then I went to go get some drinks or whatever. So I just let it run. Yeah. So if you have the depot set up, the bundle should already download for you. But this is, in my case, this is like online, so it's always connected to the internet. It's not a dark site kind of thing. Let this go through the pre-check here. I'll see if I can fast forward without missing anything. 65%. All right, I'm gonna go right about here. I believe I edited the video a couple times, just cut out some of the waiting. All right, so pause it. As you can see here, 241 of the pre-checks passed, 4 had errors, 6 warnings, and then as we'll go through, I will show you what those were. That is a good question as well. So in my home lab, I am running on a Dell Precision Tower 7920. It's one of the servers I just recently bought so I could do VCF as a nested environment. So this is all nested on that one box. Um, I've got several NVMe drives that are clustered as a data store cluster, and then I've got like a larger 10 terabyte like spinning drive, right? Just so I can dump data onto it. And also, if you have like a VxRail versus ReadyNode, the process would probably be different because VxRail introduces another component that I cannot demo here. But if you had like a vSAN ReadyNode, this would be like the same process. Going through, you see vCenter backup. Let me go right back on that. So that's one of the things that failed. Um, the vCenter backup and the vCenter backup age, or at least those are the warnings. Uh, yeah, I'm not very diligent on my vCenter backups because I feel like I just kind of like to YOLO it. So I need to be better. I do have a NAS that I can store those to, so I'll be setting that up. Um, those are probably actually the errors. The vCenter Cloud System Health, that's just another warning. So it's very good about telling you what it is, what the issue is. So um, yes, my vSAN SCSI controllers and all that because it's nested. So that did throw some errors. So now I am actually going to attempt to do the SDC manager update. So think of it just like if you're updating your vSphere environment, you update the vCenter first and then the ESX hosts. In this case, you update the SDC manager first, and then the vCenter, or then the vCenter, then NSX manager, and then the host. The host will always be last. Um, there, I was just kind of showing that you can do a backup of your SDC manager that does not include the vCenters, but that's just this environment. There is some advanced options. So there you go. It's just trying to show you what the vCenter is seeing and what's going on. Okay, now I have one upgrade or one update for the management domain. Just kind of showing you, walking you through it. You can either schedule the update or you can just say update now. So I hit update now, and it says it's scheduled for what at that time was just a few minutes next, right? So uh, again, it's going to do the SC manager first. I do have some licenses, stuff like that, that had to be updated, but should start kicking off in just a minute. And yeah, so doing this during production, um, obviously you would want to, do a change control window and stuff like that. Updating the SC manager should not affect, let's say, like customers of their and like their VMs and everything. Um, Even updating the other components, the vCenter and NSX manager, nothing should bring down VMs. I just want to always make a caution there. I even still tell my customers what you may see is when it updates the ESX host and it's doing the same process as you would normally do in a non VCF environment, where it has to vMotion all your VMs to shut down a host and reboot it, all that. So you would probably see some performance issues when you get to that point. But yeah, really no impact. But always be cautious. Do a change control window. So the SC manager, when it started to kick off, it switched to this page. I'll kind of scroll through here. This video is about 40 minutes long by itself if I don't, so I'm just trying to speed up time. All right, let me go back. And finally started doing the upgrade. You see that the setup common appliance unedited, and now everything's kind of going through. So, and this thing, like when you update vCenter, it deploys a second vCenter, right? And then it copies everything over. It is not doing that here. It is actually updating the same SC manager. At this point, I'll pause. Um, what has happened so far? So the SC manager has now been upgraded. The next step is NSXT. Sorry, I got them backwards. NSX first, then vCenter, and then the SX host. Um, so going through this, and since this is a nested environment, I only have one NSX manager uh, for both the management workload and the VI workload. In a real world, they would have to have at least three NSX managers in a clustered configuration for both domains. So this will be a little bit easier in the sense that I'm only going to do one, right? So take that into consideration. So I just showed that the SC manager is now on a newer version. The NSXT is going to be doing next. I do not have any edge clusters. So I do not have to make any other changes. All I have is the NSXT managers. If you had edge clusters, then obviously those would get updated as well. Click finish. So in progress, update number one is the NSX clusters in the workload domain. As you can see, still queued to kick off the coordinator, which is like the manager, right? Again, in a production environment, you'll have three NSX managers. Again, I was just showing you that I only have the one. It finally kicked off. It's already done its own upgrade stage cluster pre-check inside of NSX. It did a backup, and now it's actually updating the components of the NSX manager. Scroll through here. Oh, let me go back. So I'm trying to remember here, and I apologize. I'm trying to remember why that host went into maintenance mode. So unless it had to update the bib, which it probably did, and maybe that's why. Uh, yep, I'm guessing that's probably why. Sorry, it has been a while since I have done this upgrade. Uh, as you know, as you all probably know, that the NSX has a VIB that is installed on each host so that it can do all the microseg and everything else that it needs to do. So that would make sense why it has to put the host in maintenance mode, update that VIB, and bring it back out. Since it's all nested, yeah, I just want to let you know that it is definitely pushing the limits of what I can do here. Okay. Yep. So let me pause that. So it said it failed. This is logging into the NSX manager. I'm just kind of showing some troubleshooting. Um, the in progress Vib upgrade task failed because of my home lab being really slow in performance. It couldn't vMotion that vCenter off fast enough, is what the problem was. So what we do, we'll just hit click retry. Once that finishes migrating off. By default, when you deploy VCF in a nested environment, only the script that William Lamb put out only deploys 4 hosts in each cluster. I decided to do 6, thinking that I could vMotion things around more, especially when I introduced the VI workload domain. Because if you remember from last time, when you create a second workload domain, the vCenter, the NSX managers, all get created on the management domain cluster. So as you grow your VCF environment, you got to remember that management domain is also going to grow. So here, going back through, I'm going to retry the update because it, since that host was taking forever to vMotion off. So it's going through the process again of pre-checks. Okay. Just kind of show you, if you click the view update activity, it kind of shows you what's all going through or what's happening. Please forgive me for bouncing around, just trying to show you everything that's going on at the same time across the NSX manager, the SCC manager, the vCenter. As you can see, the NSX manager is spinning on the web page here, and I think that is because it had just rebooted for the upgrade. So there it goes. It's now upgrading the manager. And there's the console of the manager. I'm going to attempt to log back into the NSX manager since it did a reboot. Page is loading. Still booting up. Scroll through here. So still finishing the upgrade. If you log into the NSX manager, it actually will tell you if the upgrade is in process still. So if you do have a separate siloed team that handles like NSX networking, and then a team that handles like the virtualization stuff, they'll at least know if they logged in and they see, oh, hey, gonna go in. According to NSX Manager, it is done. You can see the version that NSX Manager says. Just confirming that, yes, I am on the 4123. I'm gonna refresh this page. View the status. So now it's doing the post check and verifying that everything is good. So it took about an hour and 38 seconds from when that finally kicked off as a retry, not the initial time, but when I had a retry because of the host that didn't vMotion everything off quick enough. But there you go. Took about an hour just to do one NSX manager in my home lab. So NSX T manager is now updated. The third is the vCenter. And just as any good software should do, it should annoy you that you need to do backups, right? So that just came up. I need to do my vCenter backups. And then I believe I should have already kicked schedule off. We're gonna look and see. There's always a lag from when you say start till it takes off. So here it's finally kicked off the vCenter upgrade. It is in the upgrade status at this point. And as you can see, I'm trying to see if I can still log in. As any impatient admin would do. And as I probably didn't detail this very well, but I am doing the management workload domain first, right? As you should. I'm not doing both workload domains. So that's something that customers can be aware of, is that the management workload may not affect their customers, but they want to hold off on those other clusters, those other domains that are customer related, so they can kick those off at a separate time or a separate date. And I will show you that here in a minute after these are done. The vCenter is going through its steps. And in this case, it was just mostly patches. So it did not deploy a second vCenter like when you go through a major upgrade or update 1, update 2 kind of upgrade. So it's just really just upgrading those patches or packages. Verify I can log in. When you start getting a little scared because everything is just not showing up, don't be afraid. Just your home lab, just like mine. Just give it a couple minutes. So here it is, 8.0.2. And according to SCC Manager, the vCenter is upgraded. The third option now is to upgrade the ESX hosts, and that's going to be to upgrade 8.0 update 2B. And all this here starts happening using the vCenter Lifecycle Manager. So it pushes those changes there, and that's what it's telling you here. It's going to do a compliance check with VCLM. If I had multiple clusters inside the management domain, you could check that box and just do one cluster at a time. In this case, I only have the one cluster. You need to apply the image. And I'm here going, what does that mean? Scroll through here a little bit. Oh, I did want to bring that up. Update 2B also introduced some more CPUs that'll be on the deprecated list. So that this popped up. So this 29 or 7920 that I had, I decided to go with faster CPUs with less cores. I probably should have checked the HCL to see, hey, how long is this going to be on the list? So while it's probably going to be not supported in the next major version, you may just get that legacy warning or whatever going forward. So just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. Scroll through here. So what I'm doing here is just as you've done with Lifecycle Manager, I'm going up here and creating that image I want to use. So let's say if you had extra components or other firmware drivers and stuff you wanted to do, you could do that. So I'm checking the image, I'm going to save it, and then I'll go back through the SCC Manager and say, okay, I want to use this image. Alex, yes. Well, I may not call that out directly. So the question was, can you follow this and do the out of or the async patch tool. Maybe that's another video we do. All right. So here I'm going to go back into the lifecycle management part of SCC Manager. You select the management domain. I'm going to select the cluster. Then type in an image that you want to call it. I'm going to extract that cluster image from actual vCenter. Again, it takes a little bit of time. Refresh successful, it's still running. So basically it's taking that image from vCenter, uploading it to SCC Manager so that we can apply it and do the rest. There is a way of doing like JSON files and stuff like that. I did not show it today. So here in vCenter, you see that it's exporting the image. I actually had to do it a second time if you guys caught on that the name changed, but now the image is in SCC Manager. It sees the newer version that I want. I go through the process again to kick that off for the ESX Manager. I didn't really want to edit this out. I wanted to show you the steps I had to go through, or let me re-say that the steps I had to fail through because I wasn't for sure exactly how to do it. So in this case, I successfully configured a cluster image. I went within vCenter. I then went back to SCC Manager to pull that image, and now I can actually select it and apply it, and then click next. So that's also a good question, Monica. In this environment, it's just basic. I want to say basic VCF where there is no ARIA in it. So that would be another process you'd have to go through with the upgrade. I wish I had enough compute. Maybe next month I can get another host or something that I could actually, or add more memory and be able to actually do ARIA inside of VCF as well. You have a couple options here to do with the upgrade. Obviously, if you have quick boot, enable that. It'll go make your life a little bit faster. If you want to migrate powered off and suspended VMs, totally can. If they're suspended or powered off, usually that's okay. Just leave them on the host and reboot and come back. It's totally up to you. So now I've gone through the process, and now the actual ESXi upgrade is kicking off. So it's checking the image again, make sure everything's good, which also is the hardware compatibility compliance check. Good call, Alex. Yeah, so I think you can deploy ARIA through VCF, but it's kind of like you said, it's hands off at that point. I ran into some issues, and it was again related to the nested ESX hosts. So kicked it off, got that resolved, and now it's actually starting the process. Let me scroll through because my editing's probably not as great. So as I'm showing here, It hasn't actually started updating the ESX host yet. It's still doing all its pre-checks. It is now starting to do at least one of the hosts, the ESX 03. Scroll through here. ESX 03 finally went into maintenance mode. You can click the view status and I should tell you where it's at in the process as well. A little further, more details than what you just see on the screen. One of the changes with the 511 is you saw the private AI stuff got a warning or banner up there. I'm not going to show the process exactly here, I don't think, but one of the issues I ran into was the licenses expired or they didn't have enough cores to handle it. So I'm just showing the process of how you go through to update the licenses through STC Manager. So the vSphere Lifecycle Manager and ARIA Lifecycle Manager are two separate products. Just want to make sure we understood that here is where STC Manager today uses lifecycle management that is really with like vCenter or vSphere Lifecycle Manager. I have not touched anything with ARIA in this video, but that is definitely something I think we've done in the past or we need to do with the future is using ARIA Lifecycle Manager to deploy, which would be currently the VIDM deploys all the other processes. So here I showed you just real quickly that the ESX licenses and the NSX manager licenses got updated, and now I can actually finish doing the upgrade. So there is a lot of chat about ARIA Lifecycle Manager and with SC Manager. So I think I just know what my next session will have to be. So just as you can do with like NSX Manager when you're updating, you get a prompt showing you that updates are happening. You can log into vCenter and see the Lifecycle Manager here still going through its processes that it's tied to STC Manager, right? Still have some hosts to finish. Since this is nested, I could actually show you I logged into ESX5 and just showing you what it's doing from the console standpoint. So at this point, everything is on 5.1.1 except for that second BI workload domain. So now if you look, let me just pause this. Let me go right back to that end video here. So what I'm showing right here is that I have 5.1.1 and 5.1.0.0. In this case, we just did the management workload. that would be the most difficult one because of all the different vCenters, the NSX managers, the SC manager, also well, the workload domain, the VI workload domain. All it has to do on that one is update the ESX hosts, right? Or it has to update the vCenter for it. SC manager's already done. The vCenter would have to be done for that separate domain, and then that. So that's it in a nutshell. Walking through the upgrade process. This did take several hours because of issues I had with my nested environment, but kind of walk you through it. You know, you get a good idea of how to handle the upgrade. Any questions over this? I think I actually have a video of the workload domain, but in a sense, it's the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for viewing this session.
All right, thanks, Joey.